Welcome to The Experience, live with Russ and Scott. Join us every Wednesday at 7 a.m. Pacific, 10 a.m. Eastern on LinkedIn, YouTube, and Facebook. Learn more about the Experience community at our website, local.theexperience.video, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. The Experience is brought to you each week by these great sponsors. Present Gifting believes relationships are important. Moments matter. Join the early VIP access list at presentgifting.com. Jim Coleman Insurance, personal and business lines of insurance. Call the office at 541-753-2500 and learn more online at jimcoleman.com. Capital Mortgage Source. Your trusted mortgage professional is just a click away. Learn more at capitalmortgagesource.com and call the office at 541-829-8042. Join Wilson Hub in supporting Kicking Cancer, empowering individuals and their families to thrive in their cancer journey. Learn more at kicking-cancer.org. And now let's get on with the show.
Ta-da! Here we are live with Russ and Scott. Oh my goodness, Scott. So glad to see you. How are you doing, my friend?
Oh, on with the show. I love it. Well, welcome to February, Russ. Hard to believe. 1/12 of 2026 is already in the rearview mirror.
Wow, it's amazing. I don't know how time goes so fast, but that is why time is so precious and important, right? Mm-hmm. The experience of life is happening around us every moment.
Absolutely. You got to take advantage. And we were able to take advantage of that last month when we met in Orlando at PodFest. And that was just a fabulous experience. And then you and your family are going to be going to Ireland next month.
Yeah, very excited. Oh my goodness. Yeah. So excited for Ireland and get to see some amazing friends coming up here. March is going to be here before we know it. Oh my goodness. So yes, we're so thrilled. I've already been looking into things and have so many great friends. They're ready to help us just enjoy the Irish experience. It's going to be so good, Scott.
Yeah, absolutely. And what else is going on?
Well, I'm telling you, I want to start by reminding everybody that we are here every Wednesday at 7 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, 9 a.m. Texas Standard Time for your viewing and listening pleasure. And yes, that means you can watch us live at those times. But if you miss it, after that, it sits on LinkedIn, YouTube, and Facebook forever. On LinkedIn and YouTube, 30 days on Facebook. And you also converts to audio podcasts. So you can listen on all your favorite audio podcast platforms, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon, whatever it might be. So please listen, watch, share, like, and just let everybody know about it. So we appreciate that. And Scott, there's some more information about how they can find out more about us.
Absolutely.
What is that?
Yeah, go to our website, local.theexperience.video, and you can find out about all of the programs that we have, including the radio stations that we're on, the books that we've written, and all the YouTube stuff. And find us on LinkedIn. We would love to have a conversation and learn more about you and what's going on in your world.
Yeah, all that information is in the comments, the show notes. So how to get in touch with Scott is all there. If you want to go straight to our YouTube page, you can go to theexperience.video. It'll take you directly there, but you can find that through local.theexperience.video. Please go subscribe. There are thousands of amazing people that you're going to want to know and have information about sitting there waiting for you on YouTube. So thank you for all of that. And Scott, it's just always such a blessing, but we definitely have the most amazing people. And I'm just really excited to chat with Chad today. What do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's bring him in and find out what's happening for him.
All right. Here he is. Good morning, Chad. How you doing?
Good morning. How y'all doing? I'm doing amazing.
Well, I am so thankful that you're with us today. You and I were having just an awesome conversation again before the show. But let's start off with just the basics. Who in the world is Chad Brignac and what are you up to?
That is such a loaded question. And many times when I'm asked that, or when I used to be asked that, I would answer with what I did. Now I answer with actually who I am. And I am a transformationist. That is who God has called me to be. I believe that every day we have an opportunity to be transformed by the renewing of our minds and be a better man, husband, father, business owner, leader in this world. And I believe that for every person, every woman, every man, every child, that there's opportunity to continue to be better every day. My vision statement for my personal life is be better today. That is ongoing. I'll never reach the best, but I can always be better. What I do is I'm a keynote speaker, author, songwriter, and it all accumulates to the same thing out of this life lived through the power of transformation, and how lasting transformation really takes root when you discover your inner peace.
That is so amazing. Scott?
Yeah, I love this transformation side. You know, people say, "Oh, I'm trying to change," but very few people say, "I want to transform." But if we look at the meaning of those words, change is just substituting one thing for another, right? Going from regular cola to diet cola. That's a substitution of one thing for another. But eliminating the soda and all that from your life, that's a transformation, right? And so let's talk about how you help people transform and what it means for their lives.
So I believe that life is full of pressure. There's circumstances, situations, people, all outside of your control, and that all brings internal pressure. But I believe pressure is neutral. When you really understand what it can do in your life, I believe we put so much pressure on what we can't control that we give power in our lives when peace needs to have power in our lives. So when you find inner peace, the source of peace is Jesus Christ. But I believe peace is all around us. Peace is like air. God made air, God made peace. And we don't slow down enough to focus on what we can control in our own lives, that we actually suffocate the peace that's available to us. And I believe that is what prevents lasting transformation, that ends up culminating into behavioral changes, small changes, things like you just mentioned, Scott, that doesn't take root into something different, because anything that's holding your life has a root, and that root has to be replaced with peace. And I believe that is the real precondition for being present in any situation or any conversation. And once you find presence, then you can be transformed.
Well, amen to that. I'm telling you that, I am a firm believer that if we are not connected and settled with the foundation for ourselves, if we are not connected to God, connected to ourselves, our inner peace that comes from God, that everything else is a struggle, right? And so if we have that strong foundation that we can launch from, which is God Almighty, I am with you 100%, that amazing things happen from there. And I think so many people struggle with peace. They feel stuck. They don't know where they go with their business or with their life. So when people come to you, Chad, and they're saying, I just don't know what's going on, I don't know what I can do, but my business is struggling, how do you get that message across to them?
So I begin with a framework, and the framework is discover, align, transform. People want to make transform the focal point, that I'm going to transform. Well, no, you're not. But if you discover the things that are stopping you from transforming, if you discover what's in your life that's preventing you from having peace, when you discover the things in your business that aren't going the way they want to go and why, then you can start to align things in your life that will lead you to transformation. So if my business isn't performing or my team isn't holding up to the standards, am I living the standards? You may discover that you're setting an example that says the culture doesn't mean anything. The core values don't have any meaning. There's no definition to them, because they're as thick as the paper they're written on, which has no foundation. So we look at the leader first to discover in their lives, are they modeling what they're looking to produce? Or they're just trying to teach coach people into doing something that's not actually being lived out. Is everything in your life perfectly aligned? How's your family life? How's your marriage? How are you dealing with the financial money? How are you dealing with profits that you get? All of those things which you want the outcomes to be. If they're not, let's discover what's preventing that from happening. And why is it robbing you of simple joy and simple peace in your life? And then let's start to realign things that are stealing from you internally. And you'll see a byproduct of transformation, profitability, relationship restoration. All of those things come after that. But we want to focus on fixing things when so much is within our control of what we can fix. That's why we have to focus on what we do have control over, and that is our words, our actions, what's in our life that is stealing from us. We can remove that. I call it an archaeological dig. You have to discover what's already inside of you, and life has thrown so much manure on top of it. We don't want to dig in the stink to find out what's down there. But what's down there is far greater than what we're living from right now.
I'm just wondering, Chad, a couple of things. One of them is are you working with individual groups? How do people work with you? And then what are some of the things that are, I will say, false problems, right? Things that people come up against that they think this is the problem, but going through this whole discover process, they learn it's really deeper than that.
Yeah, so I do keynote speaking, talk to a broader audience. I do workshops where I'll talk to teams, help teams get a different awareness and understanding of each other, talk about the uniqueness of individuals. And then I do one-on-one executive coaching, where that is where real deep work is done. And I keep that focused on men. I have to do that to protect my marriage and to protect myself from going into a vulnerability trap or an emotional trap with someone of the opposite sex. So the one-on-one coaching is really geared towards men, because I'm going to ask the tough questions, and it does get extremely deep. What I find is not as many men want to go to that depth, but they want their problems to be solved. One of the things that is false is I believe we have a lot of positional leadership. And because we've assumed the role, people have a responsibility to follow what we're saying. And we don't look at our lives as the model or the example. I think another big one is the generations have changed. These young people, these older people. And the reality is every one of us have the same desire we've always had, and that is to be valued and find purpose. And when we take the focus off of valuing one another and helping each other to find their unique purpose, we can get caught up in blaming everything. You know, kids don't want to come into work. The older people don't want to teach the young generation. The generation wants work-life balance, and they don't want to have a job. And that's just not true. They're tired of seeing leadership the way it's been modeled. They're tired of seeing life the way it's been modeled, and they are inquisitive, and we're not answering the questions. We won't take time. Here's another false thing. If I take time to get to know people better, we won't produce anything. Well, if you don't take time to get to know people better, you're going to have a lot of people to meet that you'll never get to know, because your turnover ratio is going to be extremely high.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with that. You know, it's really, I'm all about connection and community building, but in a real, true source. I mean, to truly connect with people on a deeper level, to truly connect and build community, because we are better together, Chad. God built us. He created us for community to come together. We need each other. We need people like you that can be accountability partners, that can help us through things, because when we are not settled ourselves, when we are not grounded ourselves, everything else, like I said, is going to be a struggle. It's going to be an uphill battle on everything we do. And having good people around you, I am all about Christ followers around me, helping to lift me up and hold me accountable and give me strength in my purpose, which I have a very strong purpose in God. And I am all about what you're talking about. So you do keynote speaking, you do groups, you do one-on-ones with people. Have you written any books or done anything? Or if not, talk about the songwriting, because I love that part.
So I wrote a book. It's behind me, Blend Don't Break. My wife and I co-authored that book. It was written from the heart of our blended family. And it's really what led me to discover the absence of peace in my life. As I was writing the book, I was learning self-awareness, emotional intelligence, compassionate leadership, many things that I lacked, that I blamed as why I didn't raise my kids the way I would have loved to, the way my heart said I needed to, why I reacted and overreacted in certain situations. But what I learned through the course was the reason why I began to understand more about self-awareness, emotional intelligence, compassionate leadership, which is educational, but not transformational. It's also a byproduct, is that I started to discover inner peace. I started to deal with things in my life that was preventing me from being settled in myself to where I didn't need to be affirmed by everyone else, including my kids. No one had to perform to a level. I'm actually writing multiple other books. I wrote The Visionary Storm, which hasn't published yet. It's about the mind of the visionary leader and how chaotic that mind can be, but how much of a force of power it is when we understand it. I'm writing the outline currently on a book called Let's Get Naked, Living a Life of Intimacy, Vulnerability, and Unshakable Confidence. And that is really going to be a book about my transformation journey over the last 6 years since my wife's stroke. That started this whole self-discovery and what was going on in my life and how could I be better today. Songwriting is something that happened over the last year, and I've written 4 songs already. And they're really all about looking at life differently, having a different perspective, the words you speak, the actions you take, all of those things. God gave me lyrics to start a song yesterday, and it said, "Rain or shine, you are mine. No matter the circumstances, I am yours." And it just talks about being in the right perspective, knowing who you are, having value. Value is a word that I set out to add value to everyone around me over the years. I'm certified John Maxwell training, speaking, coaching, because of his message on value. But what I learned about my own life is I was snuffing value out of the room because of my personal needs, because I wasn't stable in myself. So it was impossible for me to add value. My words were always wrong. My actions were always wrong. I overreacted. I reacted. And that was because I was dying on the inside. I was empty on the inside, and I was trying to add value to other people when I didn't recognize my own value. I thought I did intellectually, but internally I didn't. So that's really my life in a nutshell, and there'll be more books to come. I just really feel like my life needs to be laid out in the most open and vulnerable way. And those are 2 different things. Openness and vulnerability are not the same thing. We treat them as the same, and they're not. And God just wants me to put my life out there and share this message about how we can find stability in our own life that will actually bring prosperity, performance, drive, not only in our own lives, but in others. But it can't come at the cost of our own emotional struggle. In the industry which I serve, is the construction industry or high pressure industries, over 50% of those executives, when they retire, their lifespan is average 2 to 2.5 years after retirement.
Oh my gosh.
That is identity crisis. That is my life
sure.
was tied into something that is not me. It's what I do.
Yep.
And that's how you started. How you started about not what you do, but who you are. And you mentioned value and purpose. And this is a startling statistic, talking about these folks who retire and basically step away from what holds their identity, and then they fall apart and have a very short life. So let's talk about how leaders can help their employees achieve value and purpose.
Yeah, I think it starts with the leaders that many of them don't know. There's too many leaders living without peace, trying to lead other people to find themselves. And it's an abuse of authority and an absence of influence. And that's what I lived as a father, as a business leader, as a business owner, as an executive. I lived that way for far too long, and I saw the carnage that it left. The first step is to recognize, am I in my purpose, or am I living for what gives me purpose? They're two completely different things. I lived in the construction world and it gave me purpose. It came naturally to me. I would look through a set of plans without reading a set of plans, and I could tell you more things on the plans than the people that studied it for 2 weeks. That was just a natural gifting. We're all unique. We all have giftings. We all have wirings. And what had happened is I began to worship the gifts, and that became what gave me purpose. And I never sought deep enough to go, is this my purpose? And the reason I was given the opportunity to lead so many businesses and so many teams was my purpose was to build up people. And I failed at that, Scott, which is what you're saying about how do we help people to find their own purpose. We have to be willing to ask the tough question if they are actually doing their job at this in corporation or business because they need the money, or they're doing this job because they feel called to do it. Because I believe when you step into your purpose, it ignites a passion, and that passion times your purpose is what positions you in your calling. And when your calling is introduced and your passion is ignited, aligned with your purpose, I believe it produces, here's a new word, just like transformationist, percentage, passion, energy. And that energy never runs out. That's the people that celebrate Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, to every day of the week. You don't separate them. You look at every day as an opportunity. You look at every day as a chance to be better, to grow other people, to add value to people. And when you have percentage, when you wake up at 2 a.m., you don't wake up at 2 a.m. worried. You wake up at 2 a.m. because you're fired up about what you're going to get to do today. And that's when percentage kicks in. And we don't do that for people enough because, again, I believe we're starving internally. We need affirmation. But very simply, if you took the time to say hi to every person in your office that's under your leadership, you will open doors to find out more about that person just by being the one to say hello and ask how their day was.
Oh my goodness.
I know a young counselor who just started his business about 2 or 3 years ago, and he was counseling a young student. And the student came in one day and his demeanor was all different. He was vibrant. He was excited about life. He was joyful, and that had never happened before. So his first question was, what changed? The only thing that changed was the day before in that young boy's life, an upperclassman said hi. It changed his whole outlook on life because the upperclassman said hi. Now, did that get rid of the stuff he was in counseling for? No, but he felt seen. He felt valued, and it changed his entire perspective.
Well, that right there is gold. Making people seen, taking just a moment to smile and say hi. I am all about that, Chad. And you and I, we've talked about this. We are definitely, God has got us on the same lane as far as the way we look at life and the way that we interact with people and lift others up. And God is definitely using you in a mighty, mighty way. This is going to be an ongoing conversation because you've got so much we could talk for hours, but being the responsible host, I have to start winding things down here. I love John Maxwell. We've talked about that. Been involved with things. I'm not a certified John Maxwell coach, but almost went that direction. Cancer kind of derailed that on the short run, but may still look at that in the future. But yeah, amazing person. And I just love what you're all about. So today, what I would love for you is in the next minute or so, give us your gold nugget, which is basically what you want people to really remember from today's conversation. And tell us how to get in touch with you so they can reach out and have a longer chat with you.
Yeah, so my gold nugget is on my website, and it's chadmbrignac.com. And I just have to stay focused on this. Pressure is neutral. peace is the regulator. Pressure will either cause an implosion, an explosion, or build a diamond. And peace is how you control the outcome of that. That's what all of life is about to me, is that peace condition. It's not educational. It's a condition you have to find. It's a source of stability. It's what grounds relationship, grounds conversation, makes you intentional, makes you a listener. Everything revolves around peace. So it's chadmbrignac.com. That'll get you to all my social media links. And I just updated my website to show my speaking performance a little bit more, communicate more in line with this peace, which has been a journey for me. Transformationist wasn't where I started 6 years ago. I've been transforming into this message over the last 5 years, and over 2025, God refined it and defined it to put me on a mission and set me on course. So I'm pumped up and excited about what the future holds.
Well, amazing. And the future holds bright things for you, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And we are so blessed to have you here today. I want to give everybody this really quickly here. And let's see here. If I could, there it is. There is your website. Please reach out.
Chad M. Brignac, ChadMBrignac.com.
There you go. I got to add that in. So there we go. We're going to do that again. We'll add the M in there. So I wanted to make sure get this up on screen. And here we go. Okay. There we go. So is that correct?
Yes, that is it.
Perfect. Want to make sure people know where to go. It'll also be in the comments and the show notes. It's clickable there, but wanted to get it up here on the screen. And I'm so thankful for you, Chad, and all that you bring. We're going to say goodbye to you here on screen, but hang tight because I want to wrap up with you hereafter. But what a blessing. Thanks for being with us today.
Thank y'all for having me.
Great to talk to you, Chad. Well, I tell you, who would have thought that coaching could save lives?
Yeah.
But it does. You know, those are,
yes.
as I said, that's some startling statistics. And here, Chad is giving people an opportunity on how they can change the direction of their lives and the lives of the people they interact with.
Yeah, for sure. No, it's an amazing, and what an amazing guy he is. I'm just so thankful we had the opportunity to have him on. And Scott, we're going to have him on another time to talk some more because he's got some great things going on.
Yeah, we'll have to get some music out of him. Sing a song.
Yes. Oh, yeah, there you go. A sing along. Well, hey, listen, such a blessing as always. Just want to remind everybody that we're here every Wednesday at 7 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, 9 a.m. Texas Standard Time on The Experience Live with Russ and Scott. And don't forget our amazing sponsors that are always here. And that is not the right sponsor, so I will fix that. But we're so thankful for all of the sponsors that we have. And we want to let you know that we're also listener supported. That's how we continue to do this. You'll find a comment, link in the comments, and a QR code in social media for that. But thank you so much for blessing us so we can bless you and bless so many with people like Chad. Scott, anything else before we run for today?
You know, it's always great to hang out with you, Russ, and hang out with cool people like Chad and just learn some more every week. So come back every Wednesday to The Experience. Go to local.theexperience.video. Find out about all of our shows, but just block the time out on your schedule right now. Go ahead and add a repeating event. This is year 6. So let's go another year 6. Just end after 6 years.
There you go. Well, we thank you so much. This community is so amazing. Bless all of you. Have an amazing, amazing week. And until next time, enjoy life and enjoy
the experience.
See ya.
Thanks for tuning in to The Experience Live with Russ and Scott. If you enjoyed today's show, please share it with others, post about it on social media, or subscribe on YouTube. See you next time.